miss the feeling.
Right now, choose any new 20 Mazda and get 0% for 60 months, plus 90 days deferred payments during the Team Mazda upgrade event happening now at Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bug Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hello and welcome to the midweek edition, the Wednesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Hopefully all is well with you and yours since, about 24 hours ago. Make it 24 hours and 3 minutes ago. If not, well, just hang on in there, folks. It's going to get better. I've got that on good authority. As if we didn't have enough to make 2020 the craziest year in recent memory. 2 hurricanes, COVID-19, and of course, being South Louisiana, after a hurricane, typically we have an explosion in the population of our state bird. And no, I'm unfortunately not talking about the brown pelican, talking about those ever-present mosquitoes here in South Louisiana. It has reached a level that you have to go back quite a few years for the effort to combat this to rise to the same level. We're talking the United States Air Force getting involved to help us fight this problem. Joining us to start today's show is Randy Vaith, a dear friend of the show, the interim director of the East Baton Rouge Mosquito Control and Rodent Abatement Program. Randy, how are you, my friend?
Doing pretty well, Clarence. Thank you.
So how widespread is this explosion in the mosquito population?
Well, it's pretty widespread throughout the areas where we've had the rainfall from those storm events. We don't have them like they do over in Calcasieu, Cameron, and Acadia and Vermilion parishes, but even over here we got that 8 to 10 inch rain after Delta. And so our numbers are up, particularly in some wooded areas, but the southwestern part of the state, it's absolutely horrible over there.
Can you remember a time in recent memory where the problem was so bad that we had to call in the U.S. Air Force and use tankers like the C-130 to combat the problem?
It's been, as you mentioned, it's been a while. I know after Hurricane Katrina, they had to call them in New Orleans.
Right.
And I think in the interim, we may have had either Gustav or Isaac may have created something, but I can't recall except for Katrina precisely.
Is there any particular type of mosquito that is benefiting most from the floodwaters, or does it pretty much run the gamut?
There's a number of species, right? Like in East Baton Rouge Parish, the ones that are benefiting are the northern floodwater mosquito and the headhunter mosquito.
Whoa.
Over in the southwestern part of the state, they've gotten these gal nippers, these huge mosquitoes that are out in giant numbers, and they've also got the salt marsh mosquitoes that they come in. They're big over there anyway, but this year they're just astronomical numbers.
That's the first time I've heard of the headhunter mosquito. What's that all about? What do we look out for that?
We've got big numbers of those. The good thing is they're mostly confined to wooded areas, Clarence. Mm-hmm. They don't carry disease, fortunately, but they're incredibly nuisance biters, and they bite you around the head, as the common name implies.
Right.
And they're one of the few species of mosquitoes where repellent is not that effective sometimes.
Wow.
So, but if you're standing out in the sun, they won't bother you. You take a few steps into a wood line, and they can cover you. Right now, the Lovett Road Park area and the area along Highland Road, particularly around the country club,
right,
big numbers of those species.
Wow. Typically, what is the, quote, travel range for a mosquito? Meaning, do we have to worry about, say, places like Lafayette that got considerably more rain than Baton Rouge? Do we have to worry about mosquitoes migrating from other areas to another location?
Well, we do with that northern floodwater mosquito. That particular species can fly 5 miles a night.
Wow.
So, generally, the Baton Rouge area suffers more from floodwaters or rain events in Ascension, St. James, areas to the south where those mosquitoes could be assisted by wind. Mm-hmm. They could come from Lafayette. It just kind of depends, but usually it's a little more homegrown.
Typically, Randy, we lay people think that when you're talking about a hurricane, winds of that magnitude, typically we think, okay, well, the wind is going to destroy something as small and fragile as a mosquito. From a professional's perspective, does that, in fact, end up being the case, or do mosquitoes, like everything else, they just hunker down and ride it out?
Some of them do, absolutely. The house mosquitoes that we are always concerned with here, because they carry West Nile virus,
right?
They're going to rest down in storm drains, armadillo burrows. They're going to be out of that wind. Mm-hmm. And so those adults can come right back. The floodwater species, the ones we're seeing, they weren't adults when the storm came through. They were eggs sitting on the ground. So they hatch out in anywhere from 4 to 14 days. And so these are mosquitoes that didn't have to go through the hurricane as an adult. They were eggs laying on the ground.
So areas that did not get an inordinate amount of rain, only got a couple of inches, either from Delta and or Laura, are they out of the woods in this mosquito explosion?
Not really. It just depends. A 2-inch rain, if you've already got moist soil, we haven't had a lot of dry weather. If that holds water for any length of time, it can be a problem. And the container breeders that we have throughout the warm months, the Asian tiger mosquito in particular, mm-hmm. It's breeding in a bird bath. So if even a small rain could fill the bird bath up again, and then 12 days later you can have these little nuisance biters, and they can carry disease too. So no one's out of the woods when it comes to mosquitoes, as you mentioned, in South Louisiana.
That's a great segue, Randy, into the next question. From a weather standpoint, we are in the midst of an unseasonal sort of warm spell right now, and it's expected to remain that way for at least the foreseeable future. Are we looking at things getting worse before they get better because of this warm spell?
Absolutely. It will extend that active period for those species like the Asian tiger mosquito that do tend to stop breeding and developing when it gets cool. And the warm weather always accelerates the development of those mosquitoes from eggs through the larva to adults. So as long as we've got warm weather, we're going to have more species. Now, even with cool weather, there's some species that are adapted to that. They do just fine when the temperatures are in the 70s in the daytime and drop down into the low 50s. That northern floodwater mosquito prefers that kind of. So it'll help with some species, but it's not. The cool weather is not going to solve our problem.
As if we didn't already have enough stuff to worry about with COVID-19 and we're coming up on the advent of the flu season, does this explosion in the mosquito population mean that we also now have an increased risk of West Nile, encephalitis, and all the other mosquito-borne illnesses, Randy?
That's a great question, because this year we had a very light West Nile season through the summer when it's typically most prevalent. But this last few weeks, we've had more mosquitoes collected that were sent in for testing that came back positive for West Nile than we had back in August.
Wow.
So this is an unusual year to have a fall outbreak, but it definitely increases people's risk. And if they're out there cleaning their yard after the storms, make sure and wear some repellent. We're not out of the woods. West Nile is lurking. And in fact, we're spraying with our aircraft tonight in two areas, one to address the floodwater mosquitoes and another to address West Nile mosquitoes in an urbanized part of our parish. So, yeah, be careful, wear repellent, wear long sleeves and long pants, take all those precautions.
And for a final question, and again, great segue in this regard, with COVID-19 and all of the stay-home orders and reductions in workforce and the like, are you all still conducting home inspections and sprayings? And if so, how do we go about requesting that, Randy?
We are. There was a time back in March and April where we were on administrative leave. We were still spraying with our aircraft and our trucks, but we did have to suspend the residential spraying. But we've been back at that since the middle of May. All they have to do, anyone can call in East Baton Rouge Parish. We'll get out there as soon as possible to inspect and treat their yard. Just call our office, 225-356-3297. And the girls will answer the phone. They'll take some information, and we'll get you some help.
Fantastic. Randy Vaith, the Interim Director of the East Baton Rouge Mosquito Control and Rodent Abatement Program. Always great to hear your voice, my friend, and stay safe out there, Randy.
You too, Clarence. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Well, I guess I am officially the bearer of bad news. Told you guys and girls about the murder hornets. Now we've got the headhunter mosquitoes. It's 2020, y'all. God only knows what Mother Nature's going to throw at us next. What's that, Marty?
Apple snails.
Yeah, oh, the apple snails. Yeah, forgot about the apple snails, too. Oh, this year cannot get out of here fast enough. You've been forewarned, guys, girls. Govern yourselves accordingly and make sure that with all the other things you've got going on in your life right now, you don't have to pile on a case of West Nile or encephalitis or any of the other mosquito-borne illnesses to go along with that. First break of this hour, we'll get this out of the way, and we're going to talk when we come back with the Metro Councilman about what is the bane of our existence this time of year. Political advertising signs. So what's acceptable, what's not, as far as their placement. Metro Councilman Dwight Hudson from District 9 joins us next on the Clarence Bug Show. Stay close.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my My wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Cantea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Cantea, your Italian dining will change forever.
You could be driving. Right now, during the Team Honda Upgrade event, get a new 20 Accord Sport for just $309 a month with no money down, no first payment, and no security deposit. It's time to upgrade to your new Honda at Louisiana's #1 new car dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
By all standards, he is a champion for consumers. Because of Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta, our utility rates are 35% less than the national average, the lowest in all of America. He saved ratepayers over $8 billion. Commissioner Scrametta brought us more reliable power plants and energy-efficient solar fields. Public Service Commissioner Eric Scrametta. Keep the commissioner who keeps our rates low.
Welcome back to segment 2 of our Wednesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. There was a big buzz created recently on social media when a sitting Metro councilman decided that he'd had enough. Those of you that are longtime residents, and for that matter, even new residents, you've noticed as we get into political season, our city gets trashed. There are political signs everywhere, not just, as the law says, on private property, residences and the like, but particularly all in the median. And Metro Councilman for District 9, Dwight Hudson, took it upon himself to take action recently, and he joins us for this segment of the Clarence Bug Show. My friend, how are you, Dwight?
Doing good, Brother Bud. It's always good to be back with you.
Same here, same here. So what was the moment like when you decided right then, you know what, enough's enough, I'm going to do something about this?
Sure. Well, in this particular instance, we had gotten several calls from constituents who were going to early vote, and they saw, just the ridiculous mess that was out there on South Harrells Ferry. But truly, I pick these up on a regular basis. We have this with businesses year round. We've all seen the guitar lesson signs, or the pressure washing signs, and that kind of thing. So this is something we do on a fairly regular basis in District 9, just because we want to create that disincentive for people to do these types of things. These signs end up in the canals. They end up trashing up our town, and time to put a stop to it.
Now, for the record, let's get this out of the way right up front. You did not pick up any of your opponent's signs, correct?
Yeah, and to my opponent's credit, he hasn't really been causing an issue. I mean, he's keeping them on private property and that sort of thing. Good guy in the community, no issues with him.
Now, if memory serves correct, you wrote the city parish ordinance regulating signs of this nature, did you not?
Oh, I want to give credit where it's due. Councilman Matt Watson did most of the heavy lifting on the ordinance. He had actually, as I understand it, been working on it when he was the legislative aide for Councilman Ryan Heck at the time. Now, I came up with the idea too, and I talked to Matt about it. He said, man, I've basically already got it done. and so we sponsored it together. And so yes, yeah.
So what exactly does the ordinance say?
Well, the ordinance clearly defines that signs, even of a political nature, are considered litter if they're in the public right-of-way. And so they can be treated as such. In order to cite someone, typically law enforcement can write the citation. It used to be that we actually had to see you physically plant the sign in the ground to cite you for litter. The neat thing that we did with this ordinance is that the name on the sign or the business on the sign is actually what we need to use in order to write you the citation. So now if we just see the sign sitting there, we can go right to the citation. Look, the last thing though I want to do is tie up our law enforcement's time, tie up DPW's time, when they could be out clearing ditches and that sort of thing. The easiest thing to do in this case was just to go and grab them.
So what's the feedback been like since this story broke? Has it been mostly positive feedback? Has it been mostly negative feedback? Or has it been just about what, for lack of a better word?
Well, if you were one of the candidates or one of the candidates' consultants, they're a little upset.
Right.
And that's okay. It happens. But my constituents are very happy with the effort. So.
Fantastic. Recently, I drove down Harding Boulevard, main thoroughfare leading up to Southern University. And in a space of about, maybe a quarter mile, in the median there were 150 to 200 different signs. The very next day, DPW, the grass cutting crews, came through to cut the grass on the median. And afterward, all the signs were gone. But it occurred to me, we pay these folks to cut the grass in the median, to keep our city looking good. And on that particular day, there's a good possibility someone's grass in their neighborhood, their area of town, did not get cut because the DPW grass cutting crew had to spend so much time removing signs and not doing what we're paying them to do. That we always talk about efficiency in government, but this is a case where folks running for office, folks supporting candidates, they can help the Metro Council and the city be more efficient with the use of our taxpayer dollars. Is that an oversimplification of the issue here?
No, it's absolutely right. And the other thing to point out is that our maintenance crews are already stretched thin. Those departments are historically underfunded. So the last thing that we want to do is tie up their time with having to go and remove signs just in order for them to do their job. It's especially offensive because the problem is originating from people who are supposed to be looking out for us. They're supposed to be making us a cleaner, a safer, a better community. Look, so we've got to do a better job.
Is this simply a case where we have done this for so long, people almost expect this to happen during political season, and even though most of us don't care for it, we kind of just shrug it off because after all, it's the way we've always done it in EBR.
Yes, it's complacency, right? So that was sort of the goal of putting it on Facebook, was to say, hey folks, just letting you know, if you put your signs out in District 9 or in front of the early voting sites for my area, they're going to get picked up. Now, I can't police the whole parish, but look, if you demand that of your elected officials to keep the parish clean, we'll start cleaning. We'll keep it cleaner,
Some folks, in talking about this issue, raised the point that political candidates spend a lot of money on these signs. And the only person that should be allowed to remove them would be the designated enforcement agency. Is that a valid argument?
Absolutely not. I have never gotten permission from DPW or the sheriff's office to pick up litter before. The signs are clearly defined as litter in law, and so no, there's absolutely no issue for someone to pick it up off the right of way. The other thing is this is really a safety issue. Several of the complaints that we got on people that were complaining about this were that they couldn't see. They created a sight obstruction for people trying to make U-turns and turn out of the early voting site. Look, I get it. I bought some of these signs myself. We're placing them on private property with the property owner's permission. I understand they're expensive. The fact that they're expensive means it's all the more important that you put it in the place that it ought to be.
I often wonder what would go through the minds of, say, some Fortune 500 company CEO that comes to Baton Rouge, an exploratory committee. They're looking for a place to relocate a business, start a new business, and they leave Metro Airport, miss that turnoff to get on 110 and head to downtown, and end up driving down Harding Boulevard, and they see 150, 200 signs in the median.
Yep.
Is that the message we want to send about our city?
Absolutely not. So I know as a Metro Councilman, and I assume most of the other judgeships and Justice of the Peace and those folks are participating in these as well. We've done a lot of things with BRAC and others about quality of place, keeping our community clean, making sure we're presenting ourselves for economic development and that sort of thing. But look, it's just like you say, whenever somebody comes in town and they see, well, these are the people that are going to be running this parish, and this is how they're treating it, we're failing. So we've got to do a better job.
It is, something occurred to me. I visited Flint, Michigan a few years ago, and took my daughter there for her first year of college. And at the time, Flint had been decimated by the downturn in the domestic auto industry. There were literally 4 to 5 boarded up houses and businesses for every one that was occupied. But something struck me. There was no trash anywhere. The grass was all cut, even though the houses were boarded up. Not only was it cut, the hedges were trimmed, the sidewalks were edged, and it occurred to me, we always talk about the pride we have in where we're from. Oh, I'm a Southern boy, and I'm from Louisiana. Those folks there had pride in where they live. And it pains me the way we treat our beautiful state. How frustrating is it for you, who saw the problem, brought legislation forth to fix it, and you still now find yourself fielding calls from your constituents, reaching the boiling point, stopping and doing these things yourself? That's got to be pretty frustrating from a public servant standpoint.
It's frustrating, but the reason why it's frustrating is because it's not yet a part of our culture to be a clean parish and to demand that we be a clean parish from our elected officials, and from the businesses that we use, for that matter, because businesses are certainly some are guilty of this as well. So look, that's the message to the general public. Go out and demand this. When you see that candidate sticking those signs in the right of way or in the median, call them up and tell them, hey, look, you're not going to get my vote if those signs are still out there. I think when that happens, that's when you'll start seeing a change. I
love it. Finally, Councilman, on a different note, 2020, as you well know, has been one of the craziest years ever. What's it been like campaigning with the COVID restrictions and all that comes along with this? How has the campaign gone?
Campaign is going excellent. We're running a good, strong race, and we feel very confident about the election in November. I'll tell you, it's been different. When I ran 4 years ago, I'm a big fan of the grassroots, and that's my background. You know that.
Oh, yeah.
So door-to-door didn't feel appropriate this year, which was a little foreign to me in a campaign. I like to get out there and talk one-on-one with people at their doorstep. So we didn't do that this go-round. We've done a little bit of getting on the phone with people and that sort of thing. Had a lot of neighborhood association meetings. Actually, just left one where we did it by Zoom. So technology is a little
right.
interesting to work through,
right.
making sure everybody keeps on mute and that kind of stuff. But no, it's been a good experience. It's neat to see how we adapt, right? So it's been encouraging that way. Even though COVID has kind of turned everything upside down on its head, we are fighting to make sure that we can still function and still get the job done.
He is the incumbent Metro Councilman for District 9, Dwight Hudson, and the guy that is adamant about having our city look the best that it can. And anybody that's about that is all right in my book. Councilman, the best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you, Brother Bugs. Always a pleasure.
All right, get this bottom of the hour break out of the way. We will continue to roll right along on the Wednesday edition of the Clarence Buggs Show, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Jaguar Nation, we need your help in masking up Louisiana.
Masks help us slow the spread of COVID-19.
During this time, we must continue to wear a mask, wash your hands, and practice social distancing.
It's important that we continue to abide by the CDC's guidelines to stop the spread.
Jaguar Nation, we challenge you to mask up. Go Jags!
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Today's the day to score thousands in savings on a new Toyota during the upgrade event at Team Toyota. Choose the all-new redesigned 2020 Highlander and get $1,750 customer cash. Let today be the day you score thousands in savings at Team Toyota, I-12 at O'Neill.
They said I could find you here. Why are you fishing? Our company's got to ship out 2 full color brochures and 20 color copies. You're killing me.
It's done. Designed, printed, packaged, and shipped.
How?
You just got to know the right people. Baker Printing, the printing people.
How come you get to fish in this private lake?
Like I said, you just got to know the right people. You can know the right people too.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of the Clarence Buggs Show. 2020 has, for a guy who makes his living with words, it's hard sometimes to come up with words to describe how crazy this year has been. And as is typically the case with hurricanes, pandemic, all the other stuff that happens in everyday life. Many times, with one single issue, we get to see the best, that humanity has to offer. And on the same side, on the other side rather, of that same coin, we get to see the worst that humanity has to offer. Recently, last week as a matter of fact, here in the capital city, there was a shooting that claimed the life of a 2-year-old. 2-year-old Azaria Thomas, most precious little thing you ever want to see, was murdered in this shooting rampage. And if that weren't bad enough, we now find out that a GoFundMe account set up to benefit the family and cover the funeral expenses was a scam. Speaking of things that words fail me when it comes to describing, if you have listened to me, watched me for any amount of time over the years, you know that as a staunch conservative, I am wholeheartedly for smaller government and less government intrusion in our lives. As is the case with most conservatives, we favor fewer frivolous laws and fewer regulations that only encumber our lives as regular, everyday Americans. But in a case like this, if by chance law enforcement would be able to track down the individuals or individual that was responsible for attempting to capitalize on the pain of this family and the death of this darling 2-year-old, I would have no hesitation, no reservation, no trepidation whatsoever in adding an additional penalty for people who victimize others in their moment of grief. It's one thing for someone to make up a cause, set up a GoFundMe account, and scam people out of money. It is something else entirely when someone has died, much less a 2-year-old, and you capitalize on this family's pain only for your own greed and your own selfishness. I would have absolutely no problem at all with legislation being crafted and passed that when low-down pieces of you fill in the blank here get caught. What was that, Marty? Garbage. Yeah, clean it up. When pieces of garbage pull stunts like this, there is an added penalty. I would have no problem with that. By the way, I mentioned at the start of this segment that we also, in addition to this low-life piece of garbage or pieces of garbage, there is an upside to this. Vince Hutchinson Jr. is Azaria's father, and it just so happens he is a member of the New Roads Police Department. And I know a lot of the guys and girls in law enforcement over in the great parish of Point Capee. And I've not been able to find out just yet if Vince Hutchinson Jr. is the son of Vince Hutchinson and the Heavy Storm Band fame. I get, my gut feeling tells me it is, but that's beside the point. He comes from a great family. And the law enforcement family in the Capital Region has stepped up and will cover the funeral costs for little 2-year-old Azaria Thomas. All of the donations that are made will be forwarded to Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital. Outstanding facility. They do outstanding work there. And who knows, that donation forwarded to OLOL Children's Hospital may well be the donation that saves another child's life. It may well be the donation that leads to the breakthrough in some pediatric disease that's been ravaging the pediatric community for years. You never know how these things are going to work out. But again, if by chance you know of the individuals responsible for scamming people behind the death of this darling 2-year-old, call your local law enforcement agency, because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Individuals that would stoop so low as to scam people out of money on the heels of the death of a 2-year-old, God only knows what else they're capable of doing. And it's reasons like this, and thank God I live in a place like Louisiana, but there are folks out there that will see something like this. And the next time there is a tragedy in our community, a neighboring community, another state, whatever, they will remember this, and they may, I stress, they may be hesitant about giving, because in the back of their minds, you know, they're wondering, well, I remember those pieces of garbage tried to scam the GoFundMe account for 2-year-old Azaria Thomas. This might be a scam too, and as tight as money is for me right now, I can't afford to just, you know, give my money to anybody. There's the possibility that this could hamper the giving efforts of someone later on down the road. Fortunately, here in Louisiana, we are all too familiar and all too sympathetic with the plight and the pain of others. And I can't remember a time when the opportunity arose and we didn't rise to the challenge. That's just who we are. It's what we do in Louisiana. And maybe it has a little something to do with the fact that many of us don't have a whole lot to begin with. And we know that on any given day, at any given time, it might be our turn to need some help. I would like to think that is a small part of it. I would also like to think that the majority of it is because we're just good people. You've heard it. People come here from all over the world to visit Louisiana. And when they leave and go back home, typically they talk about the food, they talk about the music, they talk about the rich culture and heritage, and they talk about the goodness of the people. Man, I went and visited them folks in Louisiana. They treated me just like I was family. I thought I was related to them. Come on here and get you something to eat, man, and got something to drink. Come on, go and sit down. It's what we do. It's who we are. And I can only hope that, one, these pieces of garbage that did that are not Louisiana residents. Even if they live here, they ain't from here, meaning they're not real Louisiana folks. Because real Louisiana people would never stoop to doing something this despicable. Just saying. Just saying. We've got our final break of today's show is coming just around the corner. If I could use some baseball lingo, I'd say we're coming round third and we are heading towards home. We're going to get this final break of today's show out of the way, and as is usually the case, right about this time of the day each and every day, we'll come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and wrap up the Wednesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show right where you've got it, here and only here on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Surprise, something good has finally happened in 2020. Yours truly, the Clarence Bug Show, gets to be with you every day of the week. That's right, 11 to 12 every weekday. And of course, the Exiles right in front of yours truly from 10 to 11, yours truly 11 to 12. So now it's appointment viewing. 5 days a week here on the Pelican, the Clarence Bug Show. The only thing missing is you.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private Healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back for the final segment of the midweek edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Before we get out of here, little housekeeping, some things that we want to be sure that you are abreast of before we leave air today. Louisiana residents who are still unemployed because of COVID-19, it was announced yesterday that you can apply to extend your unemployment benefits, according to the Louisiana Workforce Commission and Secretary Ava DeJoie. She says unemployed residents can apply for pandemic extended employment compensations, that's the PEUC acronym, as well as other programs. The extended benefits will last through the end of the year, according to the Louisiana Workforce Commission. As you well know, even though our state is in phase 3, many folks are still unemployed and depend on these unemployment benefits. So check out online the Louisiana Workforce Commission's website, and they will have all the appropriate information for you there. It is something that many of you are totally dependent upon right now. And if you've been working for a while, you have paid into the system. So don't feel bad about getting your money back, okay? Keep that in mind as you continue to deal with COVID-19 and the ramifications involved therein. Also, this month, high school seniors, you will begin checking off one of the do's and don'ts for your continuing applications or continuing educational aspirations, I should have said. One of those is the free application for federal student aid, also known as FAFSA, F-A-S-S-A is the acronym there. It is the application for federal, state, and institutional aid, and is available on October 1st of each year. They are asking that you please, high school seniors, complete your FAFSA application by February 1st of 2021. Giving you the heads up now, because you know with COVID-19 and all of the other things going on, you don't want that to end up getting lost in the wash, for lack of a better word. Be sure that you get that done, and probably understanding at this juncture so many kids are going to be doing it. If you can get ahead of the game, it would certainly be advised. So go ahead, sit down, take the time, complete that FAFSA application as early as possible, and that way you will potentially receive those college award letters sooner rather than later. Finally, I know it's not Monday, and Monday typically is when we do our segment called Now That's Just Stupid. But I ran across this one, and I could not wait until next Monday, because at the rate we're going, there's so much stupidity in our country these days that I may not have time to get to it on Monday. You've all heard, many of us watching with disdain, horror, just cannot believe we're that stupid, the whole defund the police movement. Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the forefront of this. The city council there deciding, in the interest of social justice, we need to defund the police. Well, with the increase in crime there now, directly attributed to a lack of police presence, residents there of the Jordan neighborhood in North Minneapolis are now suing the Metro Council, City Council, over a lack of adequate police protection. Quote, this is Kathy Spann of the Jordan neighborhood. Quote, every single night on any block in this neighborhood, you can hear gunshots. Every freaking night. End of quote. Now, here's where now that's just stupid part comes in. I mean, aside from the Minneapolis council voting to, quote, defund the police and use community facilitators instead, right? In court this week, Spann and several of her neighbors asked the judge there for help. Quote, "We didn't get anything we think from the city and their affidavits they provided in court today that would actually indicate they have enough police on the force to keep the city safe. Their charter specifically says you have to have a minimum of 753 police officers to protect the residents." So they went to court over this. The attorney representing the city told the judge, quote, "This lawsuit has no standing because none of the plaintiffs have been hit by gunfire." So, in other words, you have to take a bullet before you can sue for not having enough police protection. Never mind that every single night on any city, in the neighborhood, you hear gunshots, you hear gunfire every night, all night. But until you actually get shot, you can't force the city to restore police protection. It's funny, ironic, and stupid that the so-called community public safety system, the violence facilitators, have not been able to stop this almost 25% rise in violent crime. Funny how that works, huh? And sadly, my gut tells me all these other cities that are drinking the Kool-Aid about the defund the police narrative, you'll be next in line right behind the folks in Minneapolis, Minnesota. You don't have to be Einstein to figure this one out, y'all. You really don't. My time's up, and I gotta go. But once again, and this day more than any other, you're right. I give it to you. America, we are not perfect. But doggone it, from my money, it's the best there is. And God knows there is no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you realize he loves you, right? And I hope you know that I do too. Then again, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. See you tomorrow. God bless.